Well, welcome to yet another plant video. I thought this one would be really fun. I've picked my 3 favorite easy and beginner aquatic plants that you can trim and replant. Why is that so great? Well, because you can make more. Welcome back to the Smallscape. Yep, I've got another plant video here, and I thought this would be a fun and different, slightly different sort of way to look at plants. I've got some other videos coming up that are similar to this. So if you like this kind of a format, how I'm presenting this information on these wonderful plants, let me know, give it a thumbs up so I know that you do in fact like it. But I have 3 plants that it's not a comprehensive list. These are not all of the plants that you can trim and replant. These are just my 3 favorite, the ones that I have the most experience with and that I think are really perfect for nano tanks. 2 of these 3 plants I've done videos on, so I will link them down below for your viewing pleasure if you would like to learn more about these plants. But let's get started. These 3 plants are really great because, well, when you have plants that you can trim and then replant elsewhere, that means easy propagation, really easy propagation. And that's really fun when you're trying to fill up more of your tank or fill up more tanks. When you have a problem like I do, and many of you guys do too, you have many tanks. The more you have this hobby, you have more and more tanks. You get the gist. Also, you can fill up your tanks. So you can start with just a few little plants here and there, and then before you know it, you're able to create your own plants and get a whole different look and like a lusher sort of look, and it's just so much fun. Now, the other thing is, especially when you're talking nano tanks, you cannot get plants that grow really tall or really large because it's just not going to look right. It's going to take up too much room. So when you have plants that you can trim and replant elsewhere in other tanks or throughout the tank, it's really great to keep these size controlled, because even some of the plants I'm going to mention, they do get tall and you might be going for a certain look. You want to keep them smaller. So, all right, let's start with number 1. My first pick, one of my all-time favorites, is S. repens. It is a wonderful little plant and it is so cute. A lot of people like to keep it really trimmed very short and use it as basically a carpeting plant. So the longer it grows, the more you can trim it and you just replant it, and it can create a nice little carpet with just your average ordinary lights. You don't need high lights like you would with dwarf hairgrass or something else like that people use in the higher end scapes to create a carpet. This is a nice little way to create a nice little carpet with just one plant over time. Now, I like to use it the other way. I like to use it in kind of clusters around rocks. I think it looks like they're very kind of bushy and they look like little bushes. And I think it's so cute when it's kept at maybe like a 2 to 3 inch size. Really cute, but it's really fun to trim it and replant it elsewhere. I've just put it in one of my tanks here, and it does not grow very fast, so it won't overtake your tank very quickly. It's just a great size and a great the time that it takes to grow is just really perfect for nano tanks. My second favorite plant that you can trim and replant it is Bacopa. I found this one first way back in PetSmart. Now, S. repens I frequently find as a tissue culture at Petco, at least in my area. PetSmart usually has Bacopa, which is really fun. It starts out really, really tiny, which is great, and then you can just trim it and replant it. I usually use it in the background of my scapes, and it's just really great. And you can use it in multiple different ways. This one, actually Bacopa, we have the best luck if we float it first, and then it grows roots, and then it just tends to do better in the substrate, but do it just fine. I've also had tissue cultures that I just started immediately into the substrate, and they do just great. So you can float it, it looks really cool. You can plant it, obviously, and it also has really cool other habits. This is one of the videos that I already did because I love Bacopa, but it also creeps along the water. Once it gets really tall, it'll creep, and then it will also crawl. So if you have hardscaping that goes above the water, it's so cool. It will actually start creeping up and crawling and doing all that great stuff. it's also something that I immediately chucked out into my pond, and it did fabulous over there too. So this is a great plant to trim it and replant elsewhere, and you're going to have lots of Bacopas everywhere. It's also not a very fast growing plant like the next one. The next one is, I would say, the largest one and the fastest growing of my 3 picks here. This is Dwarf Umbulia. I most recently did a video on this one. It's a beautiful plant. It's similar to hornwort, but way more beautiful and way more user-friendly, I think. I usually use this floating because it has such a beautiful fine texture, little like circles of leaves, very, very fine leaves, and it's a beautiful plant, and it almost looks like little snowflakes. I call them little water snowflakes because the ends of the plant just look so beautiful. So I float it, but I also plant it, and this is great. It's going to grow way faster than the other 2. So I actually, in my one tank, I have it floating and I have it planted, and it's producing quite a bit of plants for a whole lot of other tanks. So those are my top 3 favorite plants that you can trim and replant elsewhere. I think they're a nice little variety. They're all different sizes and shapes, but they all look great together or just alone. Really love them. I've had lots of experience with them in a variety of different tanks, and they're just beautiful. So let me know, do you have any experience with any of these? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Let me know, and then if you feel like watching another video on plants, just pick one. Anyways, hopefully you have a great rest of the day, and I will see you next time.